All right, my man, so here's a little tutorial of how to mount this little guy. So you have to measure a certain distance from your actual pivot point onto the tiller where you're gonna mount this peg. You can do the same thing on the underside, which is kind of what I wish I had done. There's like a little hook contraption that you can order. And the reason being, because that has to be a certain distance from where this is actually gonna sit. So this has to sit an exact distance and height so that it's level and that the arm has the capability to move all the way port and starboard to move your tiller throughout its whole range of motion. So you have a couple options to do that, because obviously this is going to land right here. Sorry, I'm holding this and moving my camera at the same time. So you can either, what I first did, I had these little holes here, I built a little like box, and this sat on the box. The problem was, even though it was stable, the box is always in your way for the seat. There's always something sitting right here. So they tell you that basically you can put a cantilever, which is essentially going to be something like this sticking out. And this unscrews from that little piece, the same thing you were looking at here. I just had this fabricated. I'll show you a bit here why. The problem with this is it's hard to get it the right distance. This is too long for where this thing needs to sit, and then the ones that you're looking at are too short. So the best thing I'd say is we have to measure basically what's going to make it level from underneath that point in your tiller to out on your seat where we can mount that little disc right about, you know, let's say it'll be about here, same distance as mine. And then you're gonna have to come up either 1.5 inches or 2 inches to make everything level with underneath the tiller for this to sit like that. Probably about 1 inch or so, but you know, every boat's a little bit different. So that's the thing, it's either gonna be 1.5 inches or 2 inches probably, but I can't say for sure. The advantage of that is that all that's in your way permanently is this little disc, and you can just throw a cushion over it, you wouldn't even know it's there. So then mine, because it's mounted to the top of my tiller, has to be much taller. So this is basically the same thing you were looking at, but I just had a little platform mounted on the top so that this can sit right on there at the right distance and height for my tiller. The downside I'd say with this is, as you're moving, this is not the most stable because this is 8 inches or so. It's too long. So that's why I'm suggesting getting a shorter one, whether that be that 1.5 inches or 2 inch, we'll have to measure. And that way it's a lot more stable because you have a lot less vertical, you know, movement there, and it's going to help your autopilot work a lot better. So you're going to do a short one here. This little thing you're going to be able to spin in and spin off and move it. I think it comes with the short pedestal. It may be meant to go on the side like that. I'd have to look at it, unless it has something, a hole like right here, because this needs to mount on the top. So we've got to have some sort of platform to mount this onto. You know, worst comes to worst, I just got this little scrap piece of aluminum here and had it welded on for 30 bucks and had them punch a hole for the size. So, but that's basically the measurements you got to make, because that has to be that exact distance. See if I can back up a little bit here. So it's got to be level and then sitting in that exact location, the exact distance from there. So we have to figure out a way to get that platform somewhere there. Hope that kind of makes sense, and we can kind of work out options there. The wiring is really pretty easy.